my fellow Australians, it is time once again to delve into what the Murdoch minions want you to know in the shape of Australia's #1 selling newspaper, the Sunday Telegraph. We're in a different room today, so enjoy the bright yellow of the hallway. I've got a print job running in the room I usually use, and who wants the sound of a stepper motor compromising the exquisite production values of these videos? So what have we got? In the paper, front page splash, I like this. Inside the House of Ibrahim. Look, it's people with foreign sounding names, and their skins are slightly dark, and they might own places your daughter wants to go, and they might be selling drugs. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like gonna die in a ditch defending John Ibrahim. He's got enough lawyers for that. But yeah, it's a perfect story for the Telegraph, and you know, now that we've swept what the bankers were doing to the country under the rug, we can focus on people with the ethnic names. Moving on. Oh, okay, key players of the family. Nice. Family affair. Gosh. I gotta say, the photograph of the family all in their dark suits and dark sunglasses, perhaps if a publicist or social media advisor had been handy, they might have been cautioned against making that shot, because it's certainly grist to the Telegraph. Oh, more. It's the tax bill splitting the brothers. Hey, look. Gratuitous reason to put a woman in a bikini. Fantastic. These criminals, they've got sexy women. And helicopters. Oh gosh, they've got everything. Beachside stuff. Let's bring them down. Not the ones who are seriously stealing the country's wealth, just the ones that seem a bit dangerous to the middle class. More. Page 7, still got Ibrahim's. Oh gosh, 8, 9, still on the Ibrahims. 10, 11, this is an awful lot of newspaper. Oh wow, okay, so it's a wraparound. Just wall-to-wall Ibrahims. So if we're 12 pages on the first half, 24 pages of Ibrahims. Well done them. And then the real cover of the paper, they'll be regretting putting Sam Kerr on the cover. The results did not go our way last night. Shock and awe. Moses Mabia's life was saved after he went to anaphylactic shock on Friday. Right, so he had an allergic reaction and was lucky to survive it. That sounds horrible. I hope he gets better. Right, so we're back onto Logies, with Gold Logies nominees, Tom Gleeson hiding in the back there, good to see. Neighbours actress Eve Mowry, who we apparently is a dead set legend of television. It's the first time I've heard her name, but Australian television's a bit crap, so who's really watching it anyway? Mascot Tower residents and owners turfed out of their homes indefinitely will be loaned up to $400 per night to cover expenses under a state government rescue package. I'm not sure running $400 a night into debt's a great help when you're just had your biggest single asset you're ever going to buy totally devalued, and you have nowhere to sleep. It really just shuffles them off the front page while costing the government nothing, which I guess is clever. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have rationed government housing? Baboons killed in the name of science. So Linda Samalas tells us that the New South Wales state government's doing research on baboons. As far as I can tell, it doesn't actually explain what they're hoping to achieve other than just what's the nicest way to kill a baboon, which give the baboon a banana and let it run free, I say. Right. Tycoon's missing mansion furniture. Multi-millionaire businessman Neville Crichton and his former model wife Nadia are involved in a simmering dispute with an eastern suburb socialite and interior designer after a designer furniture order worth hundreds of thousands of dollars never arrived. Good to know the socialites don't have it that easy, isn't it? Right, apparently this is news on the other page 6. So we started counting again after the Ibrahim wraparound. Incoming host of ABC's Insiders, David Spears, says he has no plans to radically overhaul the popular Sunday politics program when he takes over from longtime host Barry Cassidy next year. News. No major changes. That's the kind of news the Murdoch press likes. Their mates are on top and they're keeping it that way. Nothing's changing. Mother's 89 Days of Hell. This is Ava Benny Morrison. 2 mothers linked by a child's cold-blooded murder. One who lost son, the other who helped take him away. That's the worst opening paragraph I think I've ever seen. So this is the Braden Dillon case. They're reporting what Braden's mothers told the court. Incidentally, somehow in the printing process, Braden's name has become Bravden, which is a little disrespectful if you ask me. Right, Maths is being investigated for being too rude by the Australian Communications and Media Authority. Never mind giving social media wannabes and hey, I'm doing a video hit from the internet. Never mind putting them, giving them unwanted fame for being horrible people, or debasing the institution of marriage. What we're worried about is the raunchiness of the program. Some people have complained, and the show is just loving complaints like that. You know, Maths is the reason that Channel 9 was able to buy Fairfax. The rating surge they got from that boosted their share price up to let them do a paper deal. So serious damage has been done to the independence of Australian media by Married at First Sight. And, we're worried about, kids might think married people have sex. Burlesque star joins sad list of casualties. Right, this is news from 1861. I kid you not. News from 1861. This is because of the light rail. Drunk's biggest threat to trams. Video ride the tram on dailytelegraph.com.au. Or go ride a tram. Drunk stumbling out of pubs and impatient motorists running red lights or attempting to overtake trams have emerged as the greatest safety threats to Sydney's light rail. Large, noisy, well-lit vehicles moving not particularly quickly compared to the enormous casualty toll on our roads and cars. But sure, there's something new. Let's complain about it. Right, so apparently the White Pride rally in Penrith went badly. 25 men and 1 woman gathered at Penrith's Memory Park for the New South Wales Australian Pride March. Attendance fell well short of the 200 people expected, police said. Beginning at the park and ending about 500 metres away near a local McDonald's, the men identifying as patriots walked mostly in silence along High Street without chanting. They were accompanied by mounted police, the riot squad, the dog squad and the highway patrol. The gathering's notional organiser Mitch told supporters they were there to enjoy the Australian flag before blaming the media for the low turnout. They make us out to be scum, he said. That's why people are scared to come out. Well, Mitch, you are scum. And people don't want to be associated with scum. Bad luck. So there's a scaffolding safety blitz as tradie was caught in 7 stories up building site. They have a picture of a trapped tradie. That's good. Christopher Casaniti, although they have managed to do the caption text in black on a dark background. So the sub-editing at the Sunday Telegraph was done heavily inebriated last night is what I'm taking away from this. Terrifying 10 minutes as office workers stared out of their windows, fearing for the life of a tradesman hanging from the scaffolding of a Sydney high-rise. Note we are going for the emotional resonance with the office workers forced to watch the spectacle rather than trying to empathise with the bloke trapped on the scaffolding. I believe this had a happy ending. Look, Elton John, farewell Yellow Brick Road tour, full page ad. Might explain why the Telegraph's been bumping up the whole Elton John stuff, that and the fact their readership is so ancient as to still consider Elton John a young and interesting man. Not that I'm saying Elton John isn't interesting, I mean, he's led an interesting life, wrote some good songs. He's been around a long time. Right, here's a worrying one. Saved by jet skiers. Jet ski riders spotted a rock fisherman who had been washed into the sea north of Newcastle, calling in a helicopter that saved his life. So, maybe saved by the helicopter. The riders thought they saw a log floating off Elizabeth Beach. When they got closer, they realised he was a fisherman who had been washed in and was slowly drifting out to sea. The Westpac rescue helicopter saved the man. So the jet skiers didn't even bother to pick him up. Would have slowed the jet skis down too. So a helicopter had to come out. He was in open water. I get that the reporter's just picking up wire copy or maybe a release from the Westpac helicopter service and just turning it around so they can go to the pub, but there are questions this story raises. The Bellevue Hill mansion, once owned by former PM Sir William McMahon, is sold for about $16 million yesterday to fashion designer Camilla Freeman Topper and husband David Topper. Alright, Brazilian waitress arrested in drug ring bust. Julie Souza was arrested with her boyfriend Jake Hudson on Thursday as part of ongoing investigations of drug supply. Fortunately, her Instagram has a picture of her in a bikini on a beach with a champagne glass. I wonder if the selection of this story had anything to do with that picture. Still bringing us breaking news. Pivotal moment in PM's axing. Coalition's MPs have dished dirt on each other in an explosive new documentary about the knifing of Malcolm Turnbull. This would be the one that's airing on Sky News next weekend. Bad Blood, New Blood reveals details of the heated restaurant fight that became a tipping point in the leadership spill. Man and grandson in Will War, an elderly man whose wife dumped him at a hospital and later took $60,000 of his money, will now get $200,000 out of her estate. That seems like a sad story that's no one's business. Alright, the House of Views, inside a secret gamer factory where videos earn millions. Inside the high walls of this $15 million Darling Point mansion, there are green screens, computers, cameras, microphones, and a few beanbags. Here the residents, 5 of the highest ranked internet gaming celebrities in the country, wake every morning to a non-stop schedule playing up to 16 hours, playing video games which they upload to streaming platforms such as YouTube and Twitch. Welcome to the Click House, a purpose-built streaming factory capable of turning over millions of revenue every year in the increasingly monetized world of internet gaming. Don't worry folks, I'm not making a cent out of this, I can tell you. Miranda Devine's back. They bumped her up to page 19. Oh, look at that. There's a black man. It's Adam Goodes. Do you think Miranda's got something nice to say about Adam Goodes? Do you think she does? No, Miranda says, I'm not sorry for what I wrote about Adam Goodes, and then she says it again. Right, Jennifer Dudley Nicholson. Gotta love how the double-barrel names keep rolling out of the Telegraph. You're on sale on the dark web. Your credit card details could be being sold for as little as 1 cent on the... Is she worried that they're not being sold for enough, or would she like them sold for more? The ties that bind a family. It's a treasured gift that's been a decade coming, and when Heather Sharp's granddaughter finally does receive the keys to Grand's prize 2008 Corolla, she knows it will have been lovingly maintained, serviced, and garaged. Apparently on page 32 we've got the top 50 cars of all time. Isn't it nice that young Lillian, who's quite photogenic, although I don't think those genes are that well advised, has a rich gran who can give her a car, as opposed to people whose families don't have spare cars just hand around. Alright, so someone turned 55,000 into 9 million. Grant's tips. Grant Foley, at home in Warriba and Sinazini West. You know, I reckon if he had 9 million, he wouldn't be living in Warrimba, but what do I know? The top of the real estate market. 46, he's become an unlikely real estate tycoon. Portfolio of 18 properties, and this is how he did it. I guarantee you, whatever he did when it worked will not work now, and that's why he's telling the newspaper about it. So apparently a program in Iceland, no, this is a polity of 300,000, quite racially homogenous. Not that that's Iceland's fault in recent times anyway. Every child was given a $650 voucher to cover the cost of joining a sports or activity club. Apparently it's solved the country's teenage drug and alcohol problems by keeping the kids busy and supervised. Don't know why it costs $650 to join a club, frankly. Surely the clubs want the young people joining in. Should they be subsidising it? And on to the source. Political gossip with Annika Smethurst, Linda Silmalis and Miranda Wood. Not a double-barreled name to be seen in that lot of school prefects, but So they're giving a plug to New South Wales Labourship candidate Chris Minns, who's got a ghost-like logo for his new leadership. Albo's Maelstrom. Turns out Albo likes Radio Birdman and the documentary on the descent into the Maelstrom. I like Radio Birdman too, that's nice. I mean, say what you like about Albo and his attempts to drag Labor to the right of the Liberal Party, to the whole country with it. The man does have excellent taste in music. Good on you, Albo. Oh, Kyle Sandilands and Sam Dastyari was seen together at a car wash. Dastyari says he loves Kyle enough to know never to work with him. I'm stupid, but I'm not crazy. That could be the smartest thing Sam Dastyari has ever said. And Sam Dastyari says a lot of smart things. Does a lot of stupid things. Says a lot of smart things. He's an interesting conundrum. Budget bash. Now Gladys Berejiklian's government has claimed over 4 years the who's who of the corporate sector want to make friends. Apparently they're having fundraising parties already. So USS Wasp, which the Americans call landing helicopter dock, but other people would call an aircraft carrier, was in Sydney, and they invited MPs to a party. Parliament sat late and a lot of them weren't able to go. It seems like a foolish exercise on a lot of parts. Oh, the Rooty Hill RSL, which is one of the biggest structures of its kind in the world, has had another revamp. Isn't that nice? It's, this ostentatiousness in these clubs is great, I guess, and they're giving something back to their members. Look, you can come in your tracksuit and hang out in a really ritzy environment while you lose your paycheck on the pokies. Right, the Snitch notes Israel Folau GoFundMe page is getting a few people disagreeing with it. On the hand, it's raising a lot of money. Right, the top cars of all time. Number 1 is the Toyota Corolla. Number 2 is the Tesla Model S, which is a bit of a departure. Number 3 is the Benz Patent Wagon, which was made in the 1890s. So, again, not particularly. Ford Model T, Austin Mini, God. 1970s Range Rovers in here. Ford Ute. Look, they've put the Volkswagen Combi in here and gone with the glass roof version, which I'm told is terrible. Hyundai Excel at number 19 is, it's quite a functional little car, I guess. Toyota Prius at number 14. Well, that's one for the rev heads to argue about, I guess. Ford Mustang at 26. Aston Martin DB5 at 32. What are they rating this on? I just don't see how these exotic sports cars can be in the same list as a Toyota Corolla. They're all lovely, brilliant cars in their own way, but very different ways. So we're on to sport. People hitting each other, willing to pose for photos. I think the willingness to pose for photos is more important than how good they are at running into people. And we move to the horse torture. Horse torture. Now, the reason I keep going through this is because the Telegraph often tries to hide its serious news in the middle of the lift-outs. And, if I was making their effort at serious news, I'd be trying to hide it as well. You know what I haven't had enough of this week? Dog torture. Back to the hymns. What I haven't had enough of this week is coffee, because this room's not great for it, and I think we'll go back to the old room next week. Some things not working here. That. It's the face of a man who really needed his coffee. Let's keep going. Surely there's some more news in this thing. Other than people with names like Ibrahim's, obviously. I know I'm referring in the voice of the Telegraph when I say these things about people with ethnic names. I personally hope I don't have these biases. I've got a little bit of white privilege, but I'm working on it, okay? Now, what is Jessica Halloran devoting a page of garbage to? Oh, more about Sam Kerr. Matilda's lost. Whoops. Back to the greatest cars of all time. That's still going on. World news. Make America hate again. Democrats are squabbling for the right to take on Trump in an election that threatens to divide America, reports Sarah Blake. Now, they are covering what's a really interesting story up in Oregon, where Republican senators are trying to avoid the legislature to keep it in court, and armed groups like motorcycle gangs are running around. This story doesn't cover any of the excitingness with the senators going into hiding or the illegal militias rampaging through the state, protecting them. Right, Boris got a visit from the cops. Police were called to the home of Prime Ministerial Leadership candidate Boris Johnson and his partner after reports of a heated row. So, Boris is copping some heat. If you want to turn on the telly and actually get some news, Boris squirming about his personal life at a Meet the Candidates forum is quite something. Oh, new sex allegations against Donald Trump. A New York-based advice columnist claims Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in a dressing room in a Manhattan department store in the mid-1990s. This is according to New York magazine. Mr. Trump is denying the allegations and said, "I've never met this person in my life." I will remain silent on that. I think you can make your own judgments. Full page for New Blood, Bad Blood, and Peta Credlin on the Nutters page. Credlin says, "It's simple. Euthanasia is a form of suicide." Peter is against euthanasia. She says it's not dying with dignity, it's a form of suicide. And so what, Peter? And so what? Oh, right. And from there we move on to Save the White Farmers. Only the white ones. How much worse things have to get in South Africa before white farmers are allowed into Australia on humanitarian visas? I don't know, they should get on a boat and try applying for asylum at Christmas Island and see where that gets them, shouldn't they? And then she takes a pop at Sudanese Australians. This is the most racially charged. She's not even hiding her overt racism there. Right, then we must fight for our veterans before it's too late for them. I too think Australia should do more for veterans. We have a long history of doing as little as possible. It's nice to see something sensible. Oh, Mark Boris, the guy who did the illegal robocalls on the eve of the election, telling us that Labor's going to destroy the real estate market and we can't afford it. Got off with a warning. Still illegal. Good on you, Mark Boris. You've got a column in the Sunday Telegraph. No, he's still pushing his own interests. That's nice. He gets the whole Telegraph to do that. Other people have to pay for an ad. Henry Kissinger. Holy moly. How low can you go to give an editorial page to Henry goddamn Kissinger? We're taking advice on genocide now, are we? Oh, the Olympic Games offer a look at what a better and more peaceful future could be. Oh, the Olympic Games exemplifies the positive possibilities of the modern world. Oh, at the end, Dr. Henry Kissinger is an International Olympic Committee honour member. What was it Henry Kissinger said about murdering the left-wingers in Argentina? Do it quickly. Piers Ackerman says our pollies must stand up to China. It's almost certainly bad advice. Greg Barnes, as the token lefty on the page, says he's going to fight for Assange. Good for him. Would that more did. Claire Harvey is going to bat for her mate Gary Jubilin. She says she carries no brief for him while going on to put a whole page onto why the cops are chasing the wrong guy. I'm sure they need your advice, Claire. Right, Sunday Telegraph editorial. Major change of tack. The silent majority is not with Izzy. This is interestingly progressive. Whenever people feel they're being left behind by social change, they call themselves the silent majority and leap online to find a community of like-minded souls agree with them. That's what's happening with Israel Folau's request for people to support freedom of religion by giving him their hard-earned money. I think the Sunday Telegraph has done quite a lot to make the most of martyred St. Izzy, but sure, fine. Juliet Ashworth, who's a style queen. Australia has a lot of style queens, doesn't it? At least if you believe the Telegraph. Well, they only really want to take... Style queen, I think when you get too old to pose in bikinis for the Telegraph, you step up to being a style queen and you can put more clothes on. Borka's Bork at Rarity, just auctions. There's a lot of G-strings on the adults page. I was intrigued that a supposedly family newspaper can print content which would get you in a lot of trouble if it came up on your screen at work. Alright, yesterday, which I talked up last week, 3.5 stars as a fancy, sweet shot of nostalgia. Glitch in the space-time continuum, yes. Parasite gets 4.5. There you go. Award-winning Korean film. Jeez, I'll tell you what. You got to give them some credit. There is some real rigour in the Sunday Telegraph movie reviewing, because more than 3 stars is high praise from them. The Men in Black International gets 2. I think that's well deserved. Got a page on the National who I find boring. Right, the big packers should take a job, not another selfie. Kerry Parnell says what everyone thinks, which is that the 2 German Instagrammers, one of which has his face covered in tattoos, they don't want to give their money to so they can take another holiday. It's a simple view that everyone can hold, so the Telegraph really wants to jump on top of that. Alright, Annette Sharp is running with the Matildas. She'll be a bit sorry about the fact they actually lost last night. No Game of Thrones news this week, I regret to inform. And that's it, we're done. Just under the half-hour mark. Nothing at all about the impending war in the Middle East, or the fact that Houthi rebels are encroaching into Saudi territory, which is probably what's driving a lot of the trouble in the Middle East. The fact that the environment is still burning, extinctions are continuing, none of that. Anyway, thanks very much for listening all the way through. If you have made it this far through, I would strongly ask that as a friend of the show, you do your like and your subscribes and your sharing. The more you tell your friends, the more we can make something of this. And who knows, if it gets to a certain point, I might be able to make some of those changes to production values that you will helpfully leave in the suggestions in the comments. I do take those suggestions seriously. I do thank you very much for making them. I would note that I have to be able to make this quickly, cheaply, and it be fun. Or given that it makes no money whatsoever, I do have other things I can do with my Sunday morning, starting with sleep, or just watching Insiders. So thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I would appreciate any likes and shares and any spreading of the word you can do. And we'll be back next week. All right. Thanks, folks.